Welcome back to Forum 40. If you're just joining us, we're talking about improving our life by making better choices. In our first segment, we focused on better nutrition, basically improving from the inside out. Now we look at ways to make things better from the outside in by organizing our life. And joining us now is Joanne Rinaldi, certified personal organizer and founder of Neat Freaks Professional Organizing. Thank you so much for joining us. I take it you are a neat freak.
I am a neat freak.
Well, I'm so glad you're here because this is an area I could use help with, and I'm sure so many people could use help with. I'm sure you're very, very busy because it's something that we really need to do to keep our lives in more balance and make life a little bit easier for ourselves.
A lot less stress.
Absolutely. What are some of the areas that you see people need the most help in?
I would say the number one area is paperwork. We're just inundated with paperwork. The mail that we get every day, our kids' papers that come in, the papers that we bring in, the things that we print from the computer. There's just so much paper. That and kids' toys, believe it or not. People are just overwhelmed with kids' toys.
I'm past that stage, but still they have stuff. They have the iPad or they have other things. And it's overwhelming. I come home from work and they have book bags and there's papers that I have to look through for them and sign. And then there's other papers that they're test scores. And where do you put it? How do you do it? What's the first step?
Well, I found that one of the best things to use if you have children of school age is a binder for each child. Their schedules can be in there. You can papers that you have to keep can go in there. But if you keep their binders in one spot, then when they come home, they have a spot. They have a home for their papers. It's not like when they come home from school, they empty their school bag and the papers just go on the counter. If they have one spot where their papers go every day that you can go to when you get home and look at them, it just helps everybody.
So you're saying you want the kids to put them in?
Well, you know, I know. But the thing is, if they don't start at a young age, I've seen it so many times, they learn from their parents and then they grow up to just kind of put papers wherever if that's what their parents do.
Okay, because some of them don't need to be saved also.
Right,
so you have
right.
To be able to
and you
sort
have to
that
be
out
able
as
to
well.
part with them right away. And if you have younger children, what I found is they come home with so much every day and art projects and they're big. If you have a drawer or a cabinet or something where you can put everything every day for the whole year, and we used to make a little party out of it the last day of school, we would go through everything and I would say to my son, what do you want to keep? And then we could box that up and put it away.
You know, someone told me, take a picture of their artwork.
That's great too.
I love that. Then I don't feel so bad because if they find it in the trash, I get yelled at. So I
Right. You have to hide it.
Throw it away. But I take the picture and I feel good about that. I saved a memory. This was their second or third grade art project, and it makes me feel better that I've saved it. But you can't save everything. You'd be overwhelmed.
No, but pizza boxes. Use pizza boxes for big art projects. They're great for storing things.
That's why people hire you. So what exactly do you do? How does it work? Someone comes to you and say, help me, I need help. And what do you do from
So what I would do is go to their house and say, what's bothering you the most? And that's where I would start. If it's paperwork, then we start with paperwork. And paperwork is so daunting, but it's also the easiest if you think about it. Everything kind of has its own expiration date, and everything kind of tells you where it goes. There are rules for keeping things. There are IRS rules for keeping things. So paper's pretty black and white, what you need to keep and what you don't need to keep.
Paper, as opposed to, scrubbing the bathtub, which is mindless. Paper requires a lot of thought, and also you don't want to miss something really, really important, a bill or whatever, tax information. And that's the problem, I think, because something important could be in there, so you save it all.
Right. Well, I think that number one, you have to open your mail every day, or at least go through it. Don't open the junk mail. Put it right in the shredder. Keep a shredder where you open your mail and shred as much as you can. And then good things to use are binders. You can use binders for bills. You can use binder for your whole house information. I like to use folders, colorful folders for different things that I'm working on. If I have a bill for my folders that's red. I have a bill for something else that I'm working on, it may be green.
I know then that way file right away, but for those
I don't actually file right away. I don't like to file.
Put them in
I put them in a bin, and when the bin gets full, it's not very big. The bin is about this big. When it gets full, then I know I have to file. That's my timer.
That's your system. And everybody's
different.
You would work with a system for a person that works for them.
Right, because some people are visual and they may work well with colors. Other people, to have colored file folders, may confuse them. So they may just want it in alphabetical order and they'll find it that way. I like colors because I can easily say, okay, I'm going to go to red and I know where that's going to be.
But you should have a spot. When you get your mail and you come home, look through it quick. If you don't want to and pay that bill right away. Put it in wherever, something, a bin, something to hold.
Right, and don't open your mail in different places every day, or don't do your paperwork in different places. I've been to houses where they have an office, but they're doing their paperwork in front of the TV in the den. Do it all in one place. Keep all your paperwork in one place, because then you're going to lose something.
Then you're going to lose something. Absolutely, that's good. Okay, well, paperwork we know is certainly an issue. Let's talk about cabinets, kitchen cabinets, food and closets. I mean, so much of that needs to be organized.
Right, the kitchen, a lot of people have a lot of little appliances that we don't really use. I go into houses and they have bread makers. How often are people really making bread? I mean, it was big in the 80s.
Right, absolutely.
And people have them on their counters taking up room. I think it's important for things that you don't use a lot, if you can find space. Vertical space is huge. A lot of people don't use their vertical space. If you have vertical space in your laundry room and you can fit a cabinet or even shelves, you can put things like crock pots and bread makers and big mixers out there, so that you have so that you have room in your cabinets. You don't have to fill your cabinets. People think, oh, I have room, let me put some more stuff in there. But it's really about what you use every day and having that readily accessible.
Yeah, that's a very good point, too. And then, of course, food. We talked in the first segment about cleaning out your pantry with all the negative food.
You can really, I was in a house not too long ago and I found a bottle of, it was a spice, and it was from 1979. And actually had the date on it. It was 1979. So I always tell people, when you buy spices or anything dry like that, write the date on it that you bought it, or write the date on it when to throw it out. I've done that in people's houses where discard after this date. Right. And then they know when to get rid of it.
It's a good point, because you have a cabinet that goes deep and things get lost.
Right.
So probably, I'm just guessing, you don't want to fill that cabinet. You want to sort of keep a narrow, things narrow.
Or use Lazy Susan if you have to.
Lazy Susan, that's another one. How about clothing? Here's the thing that no dad knows about this. Moms do this. Kids grow out of clothes, and seasons change. We go through drawers and we clean out clothes. I don't think any dad has ever done this ever.
No.
Mothers do this. And what do? I mean, you don't want to throw clothes out. Then you have to save. Then new clothes go in, and that's a process.
Right. So, well, if you have more than one child and you're handing down clothes, plastic bins. I mean, it's what you have to do.
Right.
Make sure you mark the outside, what's in there and what sizes are in there, so you're not digging through. Make sure that you wash everything before it goes in. If it has a stain, most likely if you wash it and then you put it in a plastic bin, that stain's going to come back out. I've seen that way too many times. I also tell people, if you're going to put things in bins, put them in a space bag first. You don't have to take the air out, or a plastic trash bag, just to double protect it from the bugs. I've seen bugs get in, I've seen spiders get in plastic containers. People think plastic containers are the greatest thing, but you have to protect your stuff in there. Also, anything that needs to be fixed, if you want to hand it down, what are the chances that you're going to take it and have that button sewn back on, or have them hemmed, or whatever? Right. If it's got any signs of wear, just let it go and donate it.
That's another important part. People want to hold on to everything, and that's what you do. You make them sort of say, okay.
Every baby blanket, every outfit that they wore when they were little. Just pick a couple really special ones and have a special memory box for your child.
This could be overwhelming, and it could be every weekend, these kinds of projects. How do you tell someone to get started? I mean, do they do a little bit every day? Do they take a full day? Sometimes you need to, because if you pull everything out of a closet, I think if you spend the time.
Sometimes if you take a full day, you get really frustrated.
Yes, that can be overwhelming.
Yeah, so what I do is I tell people, depending on what it is, if it's your clothes, take an hour and go through quickly, and everything that you haven't worn in the past year, get rid of. That's the quickest thing to start with clothes. Also, if you take your time and think about things too much, you may keep things that you don't really want. When you're going through your things, pick it up, look at it, yes or no, very quickly. If you say to yourself, oh, you don't really want it that badly. Okay. So that's a good indicator to get rid of things. But if you're going to do drawers, take one drawer as you're watching TV and sit while you're watching TV and do it. You can do a drawer during the commercial break. Really.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a good tip. It's some advice to get us started.
Right.
Joanne Rinaldi, Certified Personal Organizer. Thanks so much.
Thank
you. Really appreciate it. And certainly I'll be using some of those tips in my own home. When your home is in order, it does relieve some of the stress of getting things done, and it allows for more personal time. And speaking of organizing our closet space, coming up next, we'll have a personal stylist, image coach, to help you look as good as you feel. Stay with us.